Morning. I am so excited that today I get to share with you what Honor Flight is all about. And I know the music's going to be coming on pretty soon, but I'm not going to be saying, hit it, Brian, because I'm not feeling it right now. But today we're going to be talking to Don Menzel and Fletcher. And Fletcher just went on a incredible honor flight, and I'm looking forward to him sharing his story. I have not heard his story yet. We'll be hearing it together. So, Brian, whenever you're ready, just let me know.
All right.
Okay, Fletcher, and it's Swezey, right?
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because it's been a while.
I know.
I know. We get to reminisce today, don't we? Awesome. And I still tell Connie to put on her. I want to see her before the end of the tape.
Okay,
so.
I'll tell her.
Okay. Here we go. Can we bring it up a little bit so they can hear the? There you go. Now it's mandatory that we dance when the music comes on, but we can't hear it that well. There we go. Now we get to hear it. Now you get to dance.
You know where I'll be. I'll be right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on
head bopping is good too.
I'll be right here.
That's good because that's all I can do.
I remember your moves, Fletch.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as always, if you have any questions in today's broadcast, you're welcome to call me. And as I always say, you should put me in your favorites so that way you don't have to remember the number, 407-373-5959. So today we have a great making a difference kind of show for you, because I found out that someone very special to me that I've known for a long time, let's see, going back to when I was 17 years old, went on a very special trip that I went on September 28th, 2013. That was a long time ago. I went on this adventure of a lifetime with the Space Coast Honor Flight, which I have to mention, the 25 men. I had a date with 25 men with the Honor Flight Network. And I want to tell you about this Honor Flight Network. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to take World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, and I believe now they've started taking Vietnam veterans as well, but I'm not 100% sure about that because back then it was just World War II and Korean. And I am so excited because I found out that an old, from a long time ago, when I was 17, like I said before, that Fletcher Swezey had gone on this honor flight adventure with the honor flight of Central Florida. So I'm an equal opportunity. If you're making a difference out there, I don't care where you're from, you can listen to me anywhere around the world. So, and the show. And so today we have a representative he's a board member of Honor Flight Central Florida. His name is Don Menzel, as well as Fletch, who's going to share his experience later on in the broadcast. And I want to make sure that you know that this is out there because there are men and women out there that have fought for our freedom that we have no clue what that means anymore. These are people that fought we're losing, I think it was like 900 a day World War II veterans, and we need to get them to visit these war memorials. And so today we're going to talk about what Honor Flight is doing and how you can help make a difference as well. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Don, I'm trying to get the names confused. Don Menzel and Fletcher Swezey are here to do just that. Welcome, gentlemen, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Good morning.
Thank you, Lillian.
I'm so glad to see both of you here. Okay, so I'm going to start with Don, because Don, you are a part of the board with Honor Flight. And I just would like to share, if you could share a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with Honor Flight.
Okay. So I originally got involved with Honor Flight about 3 years ago. A friend of mine had mentioned Honor Flight to me and asked if I knew anything about it. And at that point, I'd never heard of Honor Flight. I might have seen something, about it, but it really never resonated with me. So the gentleman brought it up. He said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Honor Flight?" And, I explained to him, "No, I haven't." He kind of gave me a brief synopsis and then got his hooks into me by asking me to come to a welcome home ceremony. And, I decided, I talked to my wife, who was in the Marines for almost 7 years. I said, "Hey, this Ed Reardon had invited us out to come to this ceremony, this welcome home ceremony. I'd like to take the kids. Do you want to go?" And my wife decided, yes, we would go. And so a Saturday evening, we went to OIA here in Orlando, and did a welcome home ceremony. I took some flags with me, some little flags, and coaxed my then 3-year-old daughter into handing flags out into the veterans, which is a whole nother story.
Wow. And so at that moment, when you saw what was coming back, you were hooked.
At that moment, and getting involved in just the spirit of everything that was going on, getting hooked, to say the least.
Yes, absolutely. And so basically, we are going to be talking today about Honor Flight and how you can get involved, how you can honor our veterans that have fought for us so that we can have what we think is free freedom. But freedom is not free. Somebody paid the price for us. And we're going to continue our conversation with Don and Fletch when we return, as we talk about Honor Flight worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so the audio has stopped, but we still have the cameras going. And so I wanted to say, when you said he kind of told you the gist of it, what were some of the key points, Don, that kind of tugged at you, that you thought, I need to be there? Was there anything in particular?
What he discussed at that time was the World War II veterans. And the statistic is 900 a day.
Yeah, I just lost Dr. John Mackey, who I found out fought in World War II. He was 100 years old. He just passed. He was my kid's pediatrician. He retired at the age of 82. And on Friday, I will be going to, tomorrow, I'll be going to celebrate his life. 100 years old, so he's one of the 900. And last year when he was 99, we talked about him going. And I would have been his guardian. I would have loved to have taken him, but it wasn't to be. And we can't let that happen to any other people. So I noticed that you guys have moved to adding Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
And so when did that start?
Well, so each hub is different. Each hub has its own charter. Okay, so originally when the Honor Flights started up, they were chartered to only do World War II veterans. Okay, so each charter, since we have somewhere around 200, 250 different hubs across the United States, each charter is different. Now, Honor Flight of Central Florida, our charter, we've opened it up to the Vietnam veterans.
Oh, so each charter can do.
I could get into why we chose to do that with our hub.
Yeah.
That's a story within itself.
Yeah. So we can do that when we are when we talk about what Honor Flight is all about. So that's what we're going to do. I'm waiting for the cue from Brian, but I really do want to talk about. I want people to understand what Honor Flight is all about and why this happened. You know, when I went on my trip, gosh, you know, I've got 2 dates: 2013, 2014. I've got 2 dates. I think it was 2013. Anyway, I got to meet the founder, Earl Morris.
Oh, did you?
Yes, on my trip, and I got to interview him while I was there. And the first show, the first show that we did on Honor Flight, and for those of you who would like to listen to it, it's at whenyouneedafriend.com. The first show that we did, I was able to record the bugle. Oh, and here we go. And the show is started. We were just having our conversation. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we're today talking, honoring Honor Flight, our veterans, World War II, Korean War, and now Vietnam. I am so excited that I have both Don Menzel and Fletcher. Fletcher, I'm going to bring on later after we talk a little bit more about what Honor Flight is about. Because once he starts talking and he starts sharing about the experience, I want you to have the gist of what it is that Honor Flight is. And so thank you, Don, for sharing a little bit more. Don is a board member with Honor Flight of Central Florida. So let's talk about what is Honor Flight and why would we want to spread the word about this?
Well, as far as my participation, I kind of gave you a brief synopsis of how I find out about Honor Flight and got involved. At that point, you know, seeing my daughter interact, handing out these flags to, you know, our World War II veterans, and we even I believe on that flight they had, you know, Korean War veterans. I decided, you know, I spoke with my wife, with our company in the position it was, you know, we decided, you know, we were blessed. We were going to become a part of Honor Flight. There's a couple different ways we've done that. But the main thing was to be a guardian, to really get a true sense of what this mission is, what they're about, and getting an opportunity to participate in it. Which in my experience has been priceless. So I went on as a guardian twice, the next 2 flights after that.
Okay, so let's talk about what being a guardian is about, but let's talk, basically Honor Flight is taking our war veterans to their memorials in Washington. So
to describe kind of what we were doing off the air, the original charter was for World War II veterans. And losing World War II veterans statistically at 900 veterans, World War II veterans a day. We've noticed on our end the tapering off of World War II veterans, but through our hub's experience, we have come to find that the Korean War veterans, the Vietnam veterans, etc., a lot of these veterans from other eras had really experienced basically to the degree of the World War II veterans without having that true welcome home. And thank you for your service. So with Honor Flight of Central Florida, we've opened up our charter originally to the Korean War veterans. And we just here recently had brought on the Vietnam veterans because last year we found out that we were losing. Last year was the first year that the Vietnam veterans superseded the World War II veterans.
No way.
Yes.
And death?
In deaths a year, yes.
So how many Vietnam veterans are we losing a year?
If I remember correctly, it's a little over 1,000 a year.
I mean, a year, a day.
A day, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, okay. So 1,000 a day Vietnam veterans?
Correct.
That is statistic. This is new to me. Okay, so I knew about the World War II, but I was not aware of the Vietnam vets. So, okay, that's it. I'm glad that you guys opened this. I had the privilege when I went up to, with the honor flight, I went up as press. I did not go as a guardian, but I got to witness all the guardians and all the men and women that were up in the flight. There were 25, as I said before. And I got to meet the founder and interview him while I was up there. I also met Bob Dole and his wife and was able to take pictures with them. But one of the things that Earl said is that he is, I believe, a PA. And one of his patients was a World War II veteran, and he had never seen the World War II memorial.
Right.
And he had a plane, and he said, we're going to just take you to see it. And that's how it started. And the joy in the face, and that small gesture made this. And there are a lot of charters all around the nation for our veterans. And so I was just so mesmerized by the whole thing. So you're basically, honor flight takes our veterans up to the war memorials in Washington, D.C. So let's talk about that trip and the what it takes to create a trip.
Okay. So the Guardian, we keep mentioning that it really is one of the most important functions to our trips. Our Central Florida Honor Flight is a 501c3. Our board members, nobody is paid. We're completely volunteer. When we go out and fundraise and we try to get people involved, I would say around 96% of the funds goes directly to the mission. The other 4% goes to printed materials and shirts and things like that.
Sure, that's great.
And it's truly, that's one of the reasons why, it was a no-brainer for me to get involved. It's a true nonprofit. The Guardian itself is a key component to it, because what we have is a veteran and a Guardian that goes, and our flights are typically either 50 Guardians and 50 veterans, or 25 Guardians and 25 veterans.
Wow. And everybody, I love the fact that everybody's on a wheelchair.
Correct.
That, even if they can walk, they're on a wheelchair. They get rolled around.
To a degree. Believe me, when you're dealing with veterans and, especially those of the Marine Corps era and the drill sergeants and those guys, it's kind of difficult. There's specific places that we request that you have to be in your wheelchair, because we set appointments. When we go to Washington, D.C., we have a set appointment at Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. There's many things that we set up ahead of time in order to make this experience, by far, priceless. And Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, we get front row seats, and that's because the veteran is in a wheelchair. In order to get that full experience. Above and beyond that, there's a little bit of leadway when we get to the World War II Memorial and going down the mall and to the Vietnam Memorial and Korea. There's a little bit more leeway there, but yes, there are points that they have to stay in the wheelchair.
Yes, and that's all. I thought that what was beautiful was to kind of protect the dignity of each individual. Everybody was, treated like a rock star, which was amazing to me. Going on, I had no idea what to expect. Like when you went on to your honor flight and you were a Guardian, you had already seen them coming back from that. So that's a whole day's worth. So I want to add Fletch in to this experience, because Fletch, you got to go on honor flight just recently, right?
Yeah. About 4 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago. It was a wonderful experience. I didn't have a way to get to the airport to leave, so they sent a cab to pick me up. The guy was here at 4:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Took me to the airport. I was able to check in with everybody. I met my Guardian, Kevin Green. He came in from Mineola. He did a marvelous job all day. Boy, I tell you what, he kept me in the wheelchair and he pushed hard. But I was amazed at how well we were treated everywhere it was so nice.
How did it feel to be treated like a rock star?
It was nice. One of the things that always bothered me was that when I came back from Vietnam, there was no appreciation from the general population. We had protesters at the fence and stuff, and it was really nice to go on the honor flight and be treated as somebody whose work was appreciated.
Well, let's go backward. Let's go back, Fletch, when you came back from Vietnam. Let's talk about your service. And by the way, thank you for your service, Fletch.
Thank you.
I hope that people who know that you've served the country, and by the way, whether you saw battle or you did not see battle, if you were enlisted during those times that you were, either there was World War II, Korean, Vietnam, you can go and on an honor flight because your service alone is enough. So Fletch, let's go back to when you served and how that experience was for you.
I was in Vietnam most of 1967. I was lucky. I left Vietnam 3 weeks before the Tet Offensive of 68, which is a really bad time in the country. My experience was good. I did work as part of a two-man team and then part of a 6-man group. And we were able to help identify enemy locations, and we did good work. My experience in Vietnam was rewarding because I feel like I helped save lives.
But when you came to the United States, you didn't feel that was appreciated.
It wasn't appreciated by people, in San Francisco, wherever we came back in, Oakland. But getting back to the honor flight, one of the things that I really appreciated was seeing the Vietnam Memorial. That's the first time I'd seen it.
Wow.
And I was able to find the name of Sergeant John Sterling, who is the man who saved my life while I was there.
How so? How so, Fletch?
Well, we had to move to a specific area in a new base down in the Mekong Delta. And the base had been surveyed by South Vietnamese, and we were told to go to one specific quadrant. And when we got there, it was late in the afternoon, and Sergeant Sterling made us put up a sandbag wall around our tent. And that sandbag wall saved my life because that night our base got hit, and I had a mortar round land just on the other side of the wall from my cot. And if it hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here now. So
wow.
I was able to find Sergeant Sterling's name. And
how did it feel to see his name?
It was very touching. I said a prayer for him and for his wife and for his family and for the rest of the guys that were there. It was a very touching experience. Very good.
Very good. And Don, you wanted to add something to our conversation.
Well, the one thing that I truly wanted to make clear, and so I'm the director of marketing, and when I go out and I talk to potential guardians and potential veterans, potential business sponsors, the one thing I make clear that's a part of our Honor Flight of Central Florida, we truly believe that if a veteran is a veteran is a veteran. It does not matter to us whether you've seen wartime, whether you were boots on the ground, planes in the air, dropping bombs. Whenever you sign up to be a part of the military, we believe that you sign a check that's paid to the order of the citizens of the United States that could be cashed up to death.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, we believe a veteran is a veteran is a veteran. We take any veteran.
Absolutely. And so this is what we are all indebted to. These are all the people, the men and women that finally get their hero's welcome. And let me tell you, if you've never been part of a honor flight, there's certain chapters in your area, check it out because you can be a part of any of the experience when they're going or when they're coming back, when they're arriving in Washington. It really is a spectacular day. And we're going to continue talking to Don and Fletch and about the honor flight when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
9876.
Okay, so as we progress in the show, I just want to talk about the different chapters. Now, I didn't realize that you were the marketing. I just had board member as your bio. So you're the marketing director for the Space Coast. I'm sorry, the honor flight in Central Florida.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
So I go out and I actually do presentations, try to do setting up fundraisers and awareness within Central Florida.
Now, you said that everybody goes for free. Is that including the Guardian too?
No.
Okay, so we need to address that earlier because when you said that all the fundraising so that everybody goes for free, you're talking just about the veterans.
The veterans go for free.
Because it's important for the Guardians to, that's part of the Guardians. They help out with the cost.
Correct. So that's why I was expressing how the Guardian is the most important function.
Got it.
Is because their donation helps cover the cost of them and a veteran. Now, our business partners help us in the regards that their donations will go to veterans that have family members that want to go with them. Mm-hmm. And those family members, if we have a sponsorship of a business, what they pay in could cover, a family member if they can't cover that cost. So we have built-in functions that, some Guardians don't pay to go, family members, et cetera, but.
Wow, I didn't realize that. I thought everybody who went other than the veterans had to pay.
That makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't advertise it that way, because if you say, Guardians are free too, it defeats your hub. There used to be a hub up north that I don't know exactly what happened, but they dried up because of funding.
Yeah, and we need to keep this very much alive. Now, are you guys going to start bringing in other war veterans as well? Now that you've added Vietnam, have you thought about adding others, or what's the requirement?
Well, we have a hierarchy that goes.
Here we go. We can hear the music now. Now we can hear it really well. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. You can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I'm so excited that today we are learning from, because I believe that we're all teachers and we're all students. And today, Don Menzel and Fletcher Swezey are today talking about and teaching us about Honor Flight. Honor Flight is an organization that I had the privilege to go to in 2013, 14. I'm trying to decide because I've got shows from the 2013, 2014. I think it was 2013, in September 2013 that I went on. It was such an incredible experience. I cannot tell you what a joyous it's of all the events. I've been doing the show for over 6.5 years now. This is one of the most memorable events. And if you know a veteran, or if you are a veteran, or if you know of someone who knows a veteran, please let them know about Honor Flight. Be invitation. And so today we're talking about how we can be a part of making a difference with Honor Flight. Like we do every day on the show, we talk about responsibility, responsible living. What can we do to live the life of our dreams? And it's ownership, taking ownership of whatever you want to create in your life. And so if you are ready for this kind of responsibility that has nothing to do with blame, shame, fault, or duty, and everything to do with empowerment and freedom, then I encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. please become a subscriber. And when you become a subscriber, it's a 2-step process. And once you confirm, you will get free gifts, a Mind, Body, Spirit Positive Affirmation audio link, and my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook. But that's not all. There's a lot of information, lots of shows that will help you build whatever it is that you want to build in your life. Let's continue the conversation there. While you're there, I want to encourage you to visit my sponsors. Because of my sponsors, this show can bring all the guests that we do bring. Just like Honor Flight needs your help, so does this show. And so I want to encourage you that if you would like to become a sponsor, you can call me at 407-373-5959. You can also go to my sponsor page and check out what they do and support them, because if it weren't for them, the show would not be in the air. Trust me on that one. And please go to my social media, like me there. I'm on demand on podcasts and YouTube. So if you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, all that information is there. But the most important thing is feel free to call me, but always leave a message. If you don't leave a message, then I do not call back. So you need to let me know what you need. Oh, you can also text me at 407-373-5959. Now today we're talking to 2 people that have benefited from making a difference with Honor Flight. We have Don Menzel, who is not only a board member, he's also the director of marketing for the Central Florida chapter, and Fletcher Swezey, who served our country. We're indebted to him for what he's done, and he got to be treated like a rock star when he went on his Honor Flight. So I wanted to bring Fletch in because I know you had a great experience, but was there any moment in your experience, because you get started at, I was asked to be there at 2 a.m. and I thought it was funny, but we're there at 2 a.m. the day you guys go at 2 a.m. and every moment is a surprise. Every moment there's just something that just pops out. What would be, for you, Fletcher, one of the moments that captured your breath and you just thought, I never thought I'd see this?
Well, one of the things that happened is we had one veteran that was late arriving at the airport. He got there at the last minute. It turned out he didn't know he was going on the flight.
No way!
His wife had registered and signed him up and made all the arrangements. And somehow she got him up and to the airport at 5:30 in the morning without telling him what he was doing. Boy, that was funny. That was really funny. Yeah, I think what I was just really touched by when we got to the memorials in Washington. I really felt wonderful with the way we were treated. It was a wonderful experience.
You were escorted by police?
I'm sorry?
You were escorted by the police everywhere you went?
Everywhere we went. We had a police escort for our bus, and they had lights and sirens, and we went through Washington at 60 miles an hour. Yeah. And we ran through stop signs, and we went through red lights, and we pushed pedestrians out of the way. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really exciting experience both ways. But they had to do it in order to get everything in. Yeah,
you have a 24-hour period, right?
No, we only had 10, 12 hours.
10 hours.
We got there at 6:30 in the morning. We had to be back at 6 at night.
Oh, okay. So you guys, when I went, we didn't get back till, I guess that because you have to go through the airport and you get cleared. You're clearing in, You're going through, you are being treated with a VIP status. Did that make you feel like a rock star?
Yeah, I did not have to take my shoes off in the airport. When I was told, don't worry, you don't have to go through security and TSA and everything. You don't have to take off your shoes. We'd just put you in a wheelchair and push you through. And when they said that, I said, sign me up and let's go.
Okay.
And I got to say something about the guardians. My guardian pushed me everywhere we went unless I was able to unless I was forceful enough to make him let me walk.
Yeah.
But anytime we needed to be in the wheelchairs, like at the Tomb of the Unknown or at the airports, Kevin pushed me like crazy. I mean, it was all there. And the nice thing about all of us being in wheelchairs, you didn't have to worry about one person being infirm and standing out that way. Because on my flight, the oldest person, the oldest vet we had was 101, and the youngest vet was 68. We had all branches of service represented. We had, we had one guy who was in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Wow.
So it was a good group, and the people that couldn't walk were in a wheelchair, and the people that could walk, we were still in wheelchairs, so that we were all the same.
Wow. It is. There's nobody standing out. Everybody's the same. And if you need to take a stop, go to the restroom, everybody stops. Not a big deal. Nobody makes a big deal. Now, Don, let's talk about the needs, because, we were talking off the air because we record our conversations off the air now. You had shared that there are a lot of needs that the organization has in order to make this free to all the veterans.
Correct. So if you're a veteran and you're considering going on an honor flight within your area, I can speak to our hub. Our veterans go for free. We don't take a penny from our veterans to go on this trip. Now, the way that we do that is by the important function of that guardian we were talking about earlier. We ask for a donation from the guardian. We do have business sponsors that step up. We have a lot of different companies, and we put on an orientation before the flight. We put on, we do the flight, and then afterwards we do a reunion. So there's a lot of different components and things that we do that people or businesses can step up and support Honor Flight.
Yes. And so, and in doing that, I want to talk about how you get, because let me switch to Fletch right now. When we left, and I didn't understand what this was because I hadn't been in the military, but they explained it to me. The photographer who took all the pictures, Lou, he was amazing. So I went on the Space Coast Honor Flight. We're talking today with Honor Flight of Central Florida. But the salute, the water salute, did you know what that was about, Fletch? And explain what you saw.
We got a heads up from the flight crew about a minute before we got the water cannons, and we got it at both airports, both here and in Balta at BWI.
And what does that mean? What does that mean to get that water? It's
the
the fire department spraying water on the plane.
That's correct. We made a joke that was one way to get the windows cleaned, but really we knew that it was to honor the veterans that were on that flight. And that was one way that they could show respect and appreciation for all of us, not just me, but all the veterans.
Well, I'm going to share a story with you guys. I don't know if we have time, but I'll share it during the break. But when we went on Fletch, we went and we had the Patrick Air Force Base, all the military there, when the send-off, when we all left, and I turned to the right, and as we were leaving, there were hundreds of people there, all of them in salute.
Yep.
That took my breath away. I will never forget that. It'll always be special to me. And I didn't even serve in the military. I could feel all of you that were in that plane with me. I could feel that emotion. And so if you want to be a part of Honor Flight, it doesn't matter where you're at, there's probably a chapter there waiting for you. And we're going to continue our conversation worldwide with Fletch and Don Menzel of Honor Flight when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right there waiting for you. I still get choked up when I tell that story.
Well, I get choked up when I talk about finding Sergeant Sterling's name, because I made a chalk rubbing of it, and said the prayers, and it was.
I saw that picture of you. I didn't know what that was.
The first time that I've told a story that I haven't had tears.
Yeah, so, I could tell though that you were.
I'm getting hard. I'm getting hard.
So let's talk this off the air because I want people to be surprised. There's lots of surprises, as we know.
Yes, that's what I was wanting the acknowledgement for. I don't want to give away all the surprises. We don't even talk about that during the orientation.
Oh.
We don't let the vets know. Like, one of the things we don't let them know is we don't let them know that we have the police escort us around.
Yikes!
We that as a surprise in order to make them feel more special that day.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, when you're inside the bus and you're looking out through the front windshield and you see the cop driving down the center line and the public peeling off to the sides so that we can go through. That was fun. That was
well, I guess I won't talk about anything else that because I sent you. I wrote to you, Fletch. I wrote to you. I don't know if you received it.
Yes, I got your letter. Thank you. That was so nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's one of the other things we don't talk about.
I won't talk about it on the air. I promise. I should turn off the recording at this point, right?
As a matter of fact, I received 3 letters that I kept out because they were so special. One was yours because because of what you said, and one was from a friend of mine, Gary, who I worked with for a number of years. And then third was my granddaughter. My granddaughter wrote a letter that just brought me to tears. It was wonderful. Oh my gosh.
How old's your granddaughter, Fletch?
How old is she? 22.
22.
She went to hairstyling school and went to work as a hairstylist, worked for about a year, and then opened up her own salon.
Good for her. Is this Valerie's daughter?
Huh?
Valerie Shannon,
the youngest one.
Shannon, oh, how nice.
And boy, she's busy.
Well, let me ask. Very nice. Brian, how much time do we have before we go back on the air?
30 seconds.
Oh. Well, I have to say that when I was a kid, I was 17 years old. Connie, Fletch's wife, and Fletcher were in my choir that I used to sing at. And it didn't fail at the middle of choir practice or at the end. It wasn't a choir practice until we heard Fletcher say, "I love you, Connie," every single rehearsal. And it wasn't, and you taught me so many things without knowing you were my mentor. Thank you. Here we go. This is the last thing.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's...
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. And today's teachers are Don Menzel and Fletcher Swezey. I have known Fletcher since I was 17 years old. I was telling a story about his love for Connie. The best thing, if you read his bio, the best thing he ever did was marry Connie, huh, Fletch?
Yes, it is.
Connie, can you stick your head in the... I would love to say hello, but... I'm
going to turn you around. Don't get dizzy, Lily.
Oh, there we go. Hey, Connie. Oh, you guys look the same. You guys don't age at all. There you go. So here we go. When it comes to... Oh, there we go. Let's make a little bit of an adjustment there. There are so many memorable experiences with Honor Flight, and I am not going to share any more about the memorable. You're just going to have to nominate. So how do we get people nominated to go on Honor Flight, Dawn? What can we do to create more people so that there are no empty seats on the plane when they go to the war to Washington D.C.?
So you had alluded earlier, that there's different hubs, all across the United States. So the easiest way to do it, like if you were to try to find Honor Flight of Central Florida, you just hit Google. We come up as number 1. Go to your specific area, whatever that city is.
Jacksonville. How about Jacksonville? Do they have their
Honor
own
Flight of
chapter?
Central Florida, we cover that territory because the hub that was in that area no longer exist.
Okay.
So Volusia Air was the honor flight that took care of Jacksonville area, but because they no longer exist, we cover that gap. The honor flight of Central Florida, really, Space Coast is the closest one to us that they target a specific area, but our territory really expands quite a bit of distance.
So let's talk about how we can get a hold of you if we need to nominate someone or bring them to your attention. What's the process? Do they have to call you, or do they call? What do they do?
Call me is fine. Being the director of marketing and many other things that I do, I always give out my phone number.
What's your number?
407 284 7329.
7329. So that's 407-284-7329. And you accept World War II, Korean, and Vietnam.
Veterans.
All veterans.
We accept veterans. So there's a process, a hierarchy. If you're a terminally ill veteran, like our last flight that Fletcher was on, there was 10 terminally ill veterans on Fletcher's flight. I don't know if he knew that or not.
No, I didn't.
Yes. So we have a hierarchy that terminally ill veterans, they supersede any veteran era.
Good.
So it goes terminally ill veteran, World War II, Korean, and then Vietnam, in that order. So what we ask when I go out to, and if anybody is interested here in the Central Florida area, I go do the presentations, I bring information. I would be more than willing to meet, at nursing homes to try to find veterans, or go to a business in order to try to find sponsors or guardians. The easiest way to do it is you go to Honor Flight of Central Florida's website, and within that website we have PDF files under one link for guardians and under one link for veterans. Because the one thing that we've experienced is a lot of veterans, don't feel like, they should be going to be honored. And so we catch a lot of our veterans going as guardians, the younger generation, the Vietnam veterans, Desert Storm veterans, those folks typically will try to sneak in as guardians. And our application process will catch, the who's who and what's what.
So they don't want. So what are some of your needs? I know that you go around, this is all a volunteer organization.
Correct.
You go around spreading the good news of what the Honor Flight is doing. So what are your needs at this point? Because you can't do it all.
No, absolutely not. So right now we typically schedule flights 6 months out. So if you're potentially interested in getting involved in the first flight of spring next year, now is the time to reach out to us. Now is the time to get more information, have a conversation with myself or our chairman. Really, now's the time to set up to get on that next flight, whether you're a veteran and or a guardian. And let's say you're like me and you've never heard of Honor Flight, and today is the first time you've heard of it. If you're in the Central Florida area and you have nothing going on this Saturday evening, I would invite you to come out to do a welcome home ceremony at the Jet Blue tarmac, where all the people that come off the flights in that general area for Jet Blue, our flight will be coming into into MCO around it looks like 1935 hours, and for our veterans, what's that? 7:35?
Yep.
Yes.
7:35.
So, or no, I apologize. That's when we're departing.
Yeah, Washington.
That's when we're departing BWI.
So when Washington leaves, there could be people there to say goodbye.
Correct.
Because there's people greeting, there's people saying goodbye.
On both ends.
On both ends. Yeah.
It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So at MCO, we will be arriving at 9:55. So it takes a little bit for us to get off the plane there. So if you hit there, let's say 10 o'clock to do the welcome home ceremony, that is what really hooked my wife, myself, in getting involved.
Very good. I know that. Go ahead, Fletcher.
We were the first we were the first to board the planes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we were all up in the front, but we were all together as a group on Southwest. And
So
then,
how was, Fletcher, how was that flight coming home? Because I remember the Guardians all sleeping. We were exhausted. Well, I wasn't a Guardian, but I was part. And I looked around because I got to interview some of the people that were there. And it was very exciting to me. I had a job to do. But people who were there to experience the gift, I thought, many of the 90-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds that were there would be sleeping. No, it was the opposite. The younger people were sleeping and the veterans. How was it for you? What was the feeling that you
believe, since I was one of the younger ones, I was awake. I stayed awake the whole flight. But we just talked, just with people around us. And it was a nice flight. Like I said, we were the first on the plane when we boarded, and we were last off, so that we didn't get in the way of the rest of the passengers.
Very good.
Yeah. But
what would you say to anybody, Fletch, because we're only down to last few minutes of the show, anyone who feels like, I don't want to be honored, I don't deserve it, or whatever, what would you say to them?
I would say, especially to Vietnam, the way we were treated coming back, this is so much better. It's the exact opposite. And it's such a wonderful feeling inside when you see people that applaud when you come through and applaud when you leave, and they have handshaking and clapping. It was really nice, and see people lined up, and businesses, cars lined up watching you go, and it was good. It's a wonderful experience.
I could tell. And so for those of you, my listening friend, you can go to honorflight.org, or you can go to honorflightcentralflorida.org. And if you're on the Space Coast, you can go to spacecoasthonorflight.org. So just put in Honor Flight and it'll take you to wherever you need to go. Last word, Don, anything you'd like to share?
I'll reiterate exactly what I told you before as far as Honor Flight of Central Florida. We believe any veteran of any era had signed a check payable up to death. It does not matter what your job is. If you are a veteran, please come seek us out. And if you're not comfortable, you don't think that you need to be honored, we will disagree with you and get you involved in one way, shape, or form.
I love it. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing your experience. It's been a while since we've done an Honor Flight show, and I want to do more of these because we owe a lot to you. And so all my veterans who are listening, my listening veteran friends, this is something you deserve. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Fletcher, for being part of today's broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Lily.
And to you,
I want to say thank you to the Honor Flight folks. It was very, very much appreciated by me.
I know. I could tell. Thank
you very much.
And please remember, you can help them out in so many different ways. Please figure it out. I know I believe in you. You can make this happen. Bring the war veterans to us, and we'll honor them. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Okay, the cameras are still rolling. Anything that we need to say, Don, that we could not say before? Is there anything that we left out?
I think, targeting Guardians is really the best route to go, because those are the men and women who choose to step up and share this experience with the veteran. We weren't able to really get into that. That after the welcome home ceremony that I participated in, and we went into deciding that I was going to be a Guardian, look, it's priceless. Money cannot buy the experience of going with a veteran. If you're not I can't speak to being a veteran, taking a veteran, but I could speak to being a person that, grandfathers were World War II veteran. Father was, in the military as well for 24 years. Wife was in the Marine Corps. For me, not being a service member, this was a way that I felt I had an opportunity to give back to our veterans, and it's a priceless experience.
I'm telling you, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I was not I mean, I was a military brat. I was an Air Force
So was
brat. My
I.
father was in the military. I've tried to talk to my dad about going. My dad is 87 years old. He feels that because he did not see battle and his boots were not on the ground, he did not deserve to do it. And at this point, I've tried different things, and I just can't. I would love to give him this experience, and I would be his guardian.
Right.
I would 100% gladly. What is something that you can do or say to that mentality, other than that woman who just said, okay, just get dressed and, take him to the airport, like Dino to the vet. Do you remember I don't know if you remember Dino, when Dino would have to, from the Flintstones, they would have to spell out VET because he would like hide. So what can we do for the veterans that have that mentality? I don't deserve to be honored. I did not fight. Don.
I don't know. Connie signed me up. She saw the NCIS program that talked about the honor flights, and she signed me up. And she and Nancy, Reardon, yeah. She and Nancy both kept talking to me and cheering me on and making me want to go. It just takes some time and some talking, but they'll get through.
What was the thing for you? What made you decide to go?
That it just, when they said, honestly, a lot of it was when I didn't have to take off my shoes in the airport. They're walking straight up through, and it was true. They got us cleared through customs and through security very quickly, very easily.
It was all in one day.
And they had to do it quick because we were up and back in one day. Wore me out. I got to tell you, it wore me out. So it's Sunday. I sort of slept in a little bit. I got up in time. I got up and made breakfast and went back to bed. And then I got up for lunch and went back to bed, and got up for supper and went back to bed. And I went back to bed for the night.
But you had a great time.
But I had a great time. It was wonderful. I got my guardian was Kevin Green. He was from Winter Park Construction.
Yeah. They're a huge sponsor of ours.
They're a huge sponsor. I understand that I know they paid for, they covered the expense for half of the Guardians on our flight.
More than half.
Yeah, and that's just a wonderful thing. So I'd never heard of Winter Park Construction, but if there's any way to give them some business, Connie and I'll do it.
Well, you just did. You just did. And tell them to become a sponsor of the show. Now, Don, with your experience and going to different places, you probably have seen a lot of people that have said, no, I don't want to go because of whatever reason.
Right.
What is your advice to someone like me who wants to convince her father to go on this experience?
I would go back to the talking points that I explained to you before. From my experience, a lot of said veterans out there, maybe they were ammo billet and they only, supplied, they were stationed here and they sent supplies over, or whatever the case may be. When I come across those veterans in nursing homes and out in the public and whatnot, and I hear those excuses, it's quite simple to me that I explain to them, look, you signed up just like everybody else, a check payable to death. You didn't say, hey, I'm only going to be in the military if I send supplies from the United States over to Germany or to Vietnam or whatever theater it is. If you didn't do your job, somebody else would have had to do it. You were a part of the backbone that helped take care of other soldiers. So you deserve the recognition just like anybody else.
Well, that's good.
And there's one more thing.
Okay, Fletcher.
All of us, or at least I should say most of us, when we signed up, when we signed on the dotted line to become a part of the military, regardless of which service, we agreed to go wherever they sent us and do whatever they told us to do.
Absolutely.
We didn't know if we were going to be one of the ones that never came home. So
and many didn't.
And your father, he was in the Air Force. He didn't see battle, but if that's but he still put his name on the line and said, "I'll go wherever you send me."
Absolutely.
I'll do
He
whatever
was
you tell me
about,
to do
and my dad was a
because I
purchaser.
want to serve my country.
Yeah, my dad was a purchaser for the medics. He was a purchaser and he worked at a hospital. And he found out that he had orders to go to Korea. And the group that he was in, and this little story he shared, I don't know if I should be sharing it, but but he shared that there was a group of guys that were like, oh my gosh, we don't know if we want to go now. It's been years and we don't know if we want to go. And they all got drunk. They thought they were going to maim themselves, and they chickened out at the last minute. They weren't going to maim themselves, so they didn't have to go. But that was the thought that they were going through. And but what happened was the next day, the war ended.
Wow.
Really?
So he did not, and good thing he didn't maim himself.
That would have been
that's
horrible.
what happens when you drink, when there's alcohol involved. Well, anyway, gentlemen, I am so grateful. Fletcher, I am so glad that you said yes to this experience, because when you say yes, you open the door to opportunity, gifts, and so much more. When you say, and you can say no too. I mean, I appreciate a good yes, and I appreciate a good no, because at least you know where you stand. And I'm glad that you said a big old yes, and because of it, you're here with me on the show, and you'll get to encourage somebody in the future to go. So thank you, Fletcher, and thank you, Don, for the work that you both do.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
Pass the word to Nancy and Ed that I appreciate them a lot.
I will be seeing them tomorrow night.
Was she wanted me to take the flight that I took, because she said you're sick, and what she was implying is not going to happen. But she encouraged me to go, and so she and Ed deserve a lot of credit.
Wonderful.
They're good people. They're definitely blessings to a lot of different people, and I'm one of them.
Yes, and I'm going to turn off the recording right now. So I want to thank you for watching this video to the end, and hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow.
All right.